Dude, I played so many games this season.
Yeah. Do you regret that? Or no?
Do I regret it?
Yeah.
Uh, no. I had fun. I was always with it was usually with friends. Like
What
I
about?
rarely played like multiple games in a row if I wasn't playing with Joe or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like you didn't play too much solo queue?
No, I mean I would, but it would only be like two. Like I'd play like 2 or 3 games a night if I was just solo queuing the whole night. But if I'm with Joe, like we played like 11 to 12 games straight. You know.
Yeah, I gotcha. I mean,
There was a couple times I solo queued and just like popped off. I kept winning, so I just kept playing. But
hmm would you say League's fun when you lose when you're playing alone?
it's a bet. I don't know. I mean, it's so like subjective to each game. Like I can have fun and lose. I can also have no fun and win.
Oh,
Like
really?
sometimes when you just get like so fed that like the game is just that easy and you win in like a surrender in 20 minutes from the other team, it's like it's not fulfilling. So I wouldn't say it's like not fun, but it's also not like why I play League, you know?
Hmm. Then wait, what makes a game fun if it's not winning?
I think winning's part of it, but I just have more fun with like the small interactions of just like beating someone in a fight, doing something cool. That's why I play a lot of champions that have like a lot of like outplay ability or like stuff like that.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Just because like that's what's fun for me. Is like those smaller interactions of like fucking like doing something crazy on Echo or like pentakilling with Viego, turning into every champion, like that type of stuff.
I gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. That's pretty interesting, though, that you could. Yeah, I don't know if I run into too many games though myself where I don't have fun when I win. Are you see?
Nah, me neither. But there's definitely games where it's like, wow, we just like stomped them, and like I would say that there are. While it's not like this most of the time, there are games that I've lost that have been more fun than games that I've won, like ranked games. I just
Say
mean like
again.
like some of the games I've played with Joe that have gone like 55 minutes where it's like everyone on the team is actually like pretty decent. That's happened to us a few times where like
Hmm.
everyone on the team is like moving together, like playing well, good spirits. Like even if you lose those games, sometimes it's just like, well, that was just a good ass game, you know, like whatever. That's still fun. But like there's definitely been other games where I won where it's just like my entire team stomps them. They don't do anything and it's like we never actually play the game.
Yeah, I
Where
gotcha.
it's like I probably had more individual like moments of fun in that other game.
Yeah, that makes sense. Uh, sorry, I was like half paying attention
I've
again.
like the one I'm thinking of, like I was playing jungle Viego with Joe on Kale, and like most of our lanes were losing,
Hmm.
but I stole 3 dragons with like some crazy alt flashes and like stuff like that. We ended up getting soul, like thought we could win for a little bit. We pushed into them, they pushed back into us, and then it became like a really good game. And like it went like 50 minutes and we were holding down the base for a while and we made
Hmm.
one mistake and lost. But that was still like I had so much fun stealing those dragons and like
Yeah, that does sound like a fun game.
you know, like just that type of stuff is more fun to me than just like stomping a team without any like trying involved.
Yeah, I think that's also why, like I'll have, like I can't play Fizz, for example, in like I can't just play him in normals. Maybe with friends, but like I can't just play him alone because it's just way too easy. It's not even challenging. Um, but why it's so rewarding to win a game as Fizz in ranked, where I'm like playing at the peak of my
Mm-hmm.
skill. But how do you think you get better at League? Like if you were to tell Meech, if you were to instruct Meech on how to get better, because I think he struggles quite a bit.
Without being like specific to just Meech.
Um, you could go specific, or you could also just go in general too.
I don't know. I think speaking in general is probably better for listening. I think the most important thing for like getting better is playing. It's hard because you can only really feel like you're getting better if you're playing in games, for me at least, where like your whole team is wanting to win. So it's hard for me sometimes to feel like I'm getting better in norms because usually you'll either stomp on someone or there's a smurf or like your team won't
Yeah.
care enough to actually like move how they're supposed to. But I would say like just playing games to like learn where you're supposed to be at rather than like how your champion works is like the most important thing, which I still struggle with the most. Like I feel like I'm pretty good with the champions I play mechanically, and the getting better part for most people comes from like, was I supposed to recall here or the next time, like should I roam top or mid? Am I like affecting the game? Like that type of stuff.
Right.
And I feel like you can only learn that, or it's easier to learn that and feel like you're actually doing something like important when your team is like also decent.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I do think there's something to be said. Like, you can definitely. Yeah, I agree. Like, you can learn. Of course, you can learn from a normal game. Like, you can learn something from any game, even like an ARAM.
Right.
But like, I think something that I said earlier, which is like playing at the top of your skill. Like, you need to be doing that. Like, if
Right.
you're playing tennis and you're not gonna get better playing against poop kids. Like, yes, you might learn something, but
Right. That's kind of where I was going with like that. Like you kind of like to really feel like you're getting better, you need to kind of just like throw yourself into ranked and like not care about that type of stuff,
yeah,
about like losing too much and just play to like you said, play to get better. But I mean, I struggle with that though. Like I have a hard time being like, I don't care about what happens in this game. I'm just gonna play better or play to my best and like learn from my mistakes. I don't know.
yeah. No, I struggle with that too. Oh
I
my
think I
god.
think one thing though specific to Meech, which is like important for like everyone though, is like a lot of people will play um like like learning matchups within that same game. Like I've seen Meech, just for like an example, or like I've seen people like do something against the champion in lane. It doesn't work at all, and then they just try that again. Where it's like you need to like once you have an interaction with a champion, you got to be like, all right, that's how this interaction goes 90% of the time. I can't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
And
yeah. Go
I
on.
think within each, I just think like within each game, learning like even just that little amount, like okay, like this game I did this, it fucked and didn't work. So next time I come back to lane, I'm gonna try something different, or like know that that's how this interaction goes.
Yeah, which is why I think it's not impossible to learn from a normal game, because you can learn those interactions from normal
Right,
games.
right, right.
But yeah, actually, I don't know exactly where I'm going with that. Hold up, little concentration here.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's this wave, these wave management's hard with Fizz, especially against
Yeah,
the Jhin.
not sure though. Can we go in? I'm curious if we can go in here if this guy uses fourth shot. Ooh, beating him up. He has heal though, that's the thing.
I have Ignite.
Yeah, I do too.
It's my first time on Yuumi also.
Yeah, she's not too difficult. And you don't really have to play her.
Should I burn his flash? I missed my
Yes.
Q. He would have died.
He has heal though.
Careful, Squidward. Oh
Yee!
no.
It would have been
Am I
fun.
dead? I think I'm dead too now.
No way. Are you really?
I'm so slow.
You don't have a heal? Did it
I
on
do in a
cooldown?
second. 2, 1. We're good.
Yeah, I ran him for E. And what's up, Kawak? Yeah, that's badge, but we did get him. I also thought my Q flash would kill. But although something you did say, I do think it's important to learn your champion like almost first before you learn the game. Which is something that that would be specific to Meech. Well, I don't know if that would be specific to Meech. I feel like a lot of people do this. I at
Oh,
least
my
did it.
bad.
Oh no, you're good. I at least
My
did
thing is,
this.
no, I
Yeah, go
get you, but
ahead.
I just feel like it's like learning that champion in every single interaction, where it's like the way you play is different against every champion, and I feel like a lot of people are like, this is how you play the champion. I'm always gonna do this, you know. And like that happens with me with every time I play, where like, and it's even also based off of like how that person plays their champion in lane, where it's like you're playing against a Teemo. All right, I know every time I walk up towards him or start running towards him as set, he's gonna Q me. So maybe like instead of just running towards him and like taking that next shot, I run towards him, get him to Q me, back up, and then I go at him like again.
Right.
Whereas like some people would just be like, I'm set, I'm just gonna run at this kid every time, you know? That's how I win. Because
Right,
that's how you
right.
win on some champions, but
Well, yeah,
or you can,
definitely.
yeah.
Definitely, critical thinking is very important in this game. And
Yeah.
well, this is something that's interesting. I actually don't think probing is quite as important in League of Legends as it is in, like, say, Smash. What the? Wait, jungler? Wait,
Have a heal in 3 seconds, two,
our jungler
one.
is blind. Okay. Ooh, we get them all though. We have a delicious wave. Yeah, definitely a little critical. Oh, well, okay. Sorry. When I was talking about probing, because I picked up Smash recently with
Mm-hmm.
Cal, and I think probing is really important in the one-on-one game, and it is important in League, but like not quite as much. Um, but back to what you were saying about set, I think that's why it can be so important to just learn your champion, because like you're right, there's just so many factors in League. Like people are gonna even play their champions differently, where it's
Right.
like if
Yeah.
you are playing different champions, then you're gonna have to learn not only like how those champions interact with different champions, but also when people play champions differently. Oh, I didn't notice you were 6. I'm not 6, I'm level 4. All right, wait, maybe this guy's, oh, he ghosted though.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting how like the matchups are that important and like playing your champion differently against every person you play, and that's like super, it's like probably one of the best parts about getting better is just like mid game, every interaction you have, like learn, take something from it. Even like so like even just like this is my first time playing Yuumi, so like I'm learning interactions every time where it's like, do I hop out and take that damage, or do I and then get you the shield, or do I stay in you? And it's like over here, if I had stayed in you, I probably could have saved you. I maybe wouldn't have done as much damage or like, you know, secured one of those kills, but you'd still be alive. And it's like, all right, now I learned from that next time where I know I have this cooldown to worry about. I know like I need to get the heal off and be on the right person, which is probably more important than me doing a little damage and giving you a shield. So like, you know, it's just
Yeah,
learning from every little thing. Like, whereas I feel like, and I'm not just like harping on Meech, it's just like that's who we're talking about, so
yeah,
it's easy
yeah,
to give
yeah.
examples where I just feel like after he did a play like that, like he wouldn't take anything away from that play besides like, oh, we got the double kill, and he probably wouldn't even remember like what he did to do
Yeah,
in that play.
yeah,
Where I still remember exactly, it's because I'm thinking about it, like exactly what I just did in that play that led to all of that, you know.
yeah. Which I also wonder, is that something that came from League or from other video games? Like,
I don't think it came from video games for me. I've always like, you know, even like from playing soccer with me, like I've
mm,
always been the mental side of games. You know what I mean? And that's always kind
uh,
of been my strength is like knowing where to be or like, you know, thinking critically about things rather than like actually being good at them. You know what I'm
oh
saying?
man, yeah. Guy has a death wish. I don't actually have mana for this though. Might be able to get him though. You might be able to get him.
Yeah.
That's
So yeah, it's just
interesting.
like that's just it's come from that I think, and just like I don't know. That's how I usually excel when I play video games is like on that side of things or sports as well. So that's how I've always played them.
Oh, so close.
We almost fucking we almost just outplayed that kid so hard.
I ran for my Q. Unfortunate. Yeah, it's interesting. I actually didn't know. I always knew like you were good at passing, but I guess I never really talked to you about if you actually thought about like the game mentally in that way, or
Well, yeah, I
like
think
tennis.
that the passing comes from that, where it's like I'm not thinking more about like, okay, how can I do this? I'm like, well, where is like best for me to help, for me to like, I'm looking
Right.
at the game from like, obviously I'm not gonna be better at beating someone in a one-on-one. How can I make a good play that'll lead to something else? And like
Whoa.
that's what I always think of when I'm playing soccer, and that's kind of what I think of when I'm playing League too. It's like, it depends. Like I'll get fed and get overzealous, obviously, but I just mean
Yeah.
like like the learning from every matchup and like really thinking about that side more comes from that. I feel like because that's just always how I've
All right.
excelled
Are
at
these guys just
things.
venting now or what? Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, it's interesting because I think like there's a little bit of that going on in my head when I would play soccer. I think one of my favorite ones was just picking up on, and it's funny, like it has a good parallel in League, which is dodging abilities. It would be like when people like used an L turn or a Cruyff, and I would do the same thing. It would be like, what depth are they thinking on? So if I do a Cruyff, when I'm here, will they pick up that I might do that again, or will they keep doing that? And then
Right.
sometimes it becomes like a guessing game too. That's just dead from. But
What are we
actually,
doing to these kids?
I know it's a little bit mean.
We are making this not fun for them. Oh, my
No,
bad.
you're good. You're good. Oh,
But yeah, no, I get you. I get what you're saying.
well,
No, the tower got on
oh,
me.
I forgot. That's my bad. That's something I always forget when I play with you.
Got me killed.
Oh, I'm dead. Gotta take the wave with my arm. But no, I think I developed that mostly like thinking that way mostly from League. I wouldn't
Okay.
think when I made mistakes, like how could I have done better necessarily. I think that was actually for me something I mainly picked up from League. And now it's something I'll
Okay.
do with other things too. Like I've been playing racquetball a little bit recently. And every time like I make a mistake, I'll think like, oh, how could I have done that better? Same thing as Smash and other things in life. But it was actually something I picked up from League, and it like wasn't what I like. I never really played soccer to try and get better at it. It was just like a result of me loving it and playing it so much.
Right.
So it's interesting that that you kind of
Definitely. I
felt
mean,
that way
even
before.
more than with soccer. I was just saying that because you've kind of seen me play soccer and played with me. But even more than with soccer, like with tennis, it's so mental.
Yeah.
It's like such a important thing to like. You're choosing where every single shot you hit goes, and all of that has an effect on where they're gonna hit, how they can like come back to you, and so like
Oh my goodness.
that you have to learn from every point.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Like, oh wow, this kid, he's really good when he comes up to the net. I'm gonna maybe miss a couple points, but keep him. Maybe I'll miss a couple balls deep, but the deeper I hit, I'm more likely to win a point. That type of stuff, and that's like learning from every interaction
Mm-hmm.
type thing.
Yeah, it's really interesting too because I think it, like I said again, I think it's almost more important in the 1v1 to kind of probe someone for that. Oh, do you take aggro? No.
No, see that time because I knew I literally was like just thinking like what we were just saying. Like last time, what happened was you went E and I took the aggro, so that time I hopped off of you while you did the E, and then I hopped on
Other man.
after. Right? Like just that type of little stuff.
Yeah. Can we outplay this? I feel like yes. Oh, I have to dodge his whatchamacallit. Okay, we did. Do you have a heal soon? Ooh, okay. I have an E soon. Yeah, I need W. Oh, backup came. Oh, and I'm half health. Yeah, this is a nasty little champ.
Yeah, this is Look how much damage I'm doing too. Oh my god. Okay, I don't have an E for you. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that was my bad. I got overzealous, but that's okay. Give him some hope. This game's ending too fast. 15-minute podcast? What the?
Yeah, it's
I
gonna
have to
be.
go.
We can do another one, and we can do
Yeah,
another game.
I think we should.
Am I beating this Nunu in a 1v1? Is that what's gonna happen
Oh
right now?
no, please
Is that
no.
is that what's gonna happen?
Not the Yuumi. He ran. Oh
Oh, he's
no.
so dead. He's so dead.
He's fast.
No, he's so dead.
Yes, heal. Oh my goodness. Oh!
It's nothing.
That could
It's
be a big
nothing for
pop.
me.
That
It's
could be a
nothing. It's
big
nothing. It's
pop.
nothing.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
That was huge.
No, that's funny as hell.
I mean, that's just the mental damage, the mental warfare.
I got a question for you. What
Yeah,
what do you think determines like a champ that you're gonna be really good at? Like, is it just work you put in, or do you feel like there's like a connection you have to that champion that makes you want to put that work in, that makes you better, or do you think like you could just some champs are more applicable to like the way certain people play it? It just feels right.
fine. Well, I always think like you should just play like the secret to league quote is playing. Well, okay, hold up.
Playing whoever you have fun with.
Oh wow, got me on the snapback. Ooh, might be safe. Yeah.
How are you alive? That's insane.
Yeah, that is crazy. Oh,
There you
I was gonna try to eat it, but
is that what you're gonna say though? Like the most fun, whatever you have the most fun on, that's what you should play.
yeah, personally, I mean, I think it's always a view I've had just because I started playing Fizz very early. I was actually inspired from you, funnily enough. But like something about his E, I just had so much fun with it, and but it didn't make me good at Fizz. I was actually atrocious at Fizz. Like when I first started, I think I played 10 games. I had like a 29% win rate or something disgusting. But I had so much fun, like I just didn't care. I just kept playing him, and I eventually got better and learned the game through him. But there is something to be said about, like for example, and this isn't.
Help me, Talon, help me, please, Talon, come here. No, what did?
Okay,
didn't come.
We need the game to go longer anyway. Better content. Ooh, there's a Tito in the game. Didn't even know. But there is something like I think you can really pick up any champion you want, and so I think that's why what's important is that you enjoy them and their kit. But it is interesting because I've been like in Brawl right now. I don't really understand the game well enough to like know who actually appeals to me in terms of their kit. So I'm just playing Kirby and learning the game through Kirby. I don't really understand.
Right.
Like I've tried other people, but I'm not really sure if they appeal to me.
Right. Okay.
So I don't know exactly like what the criteria would be to find what you have fun playing. Because for a lot of people, I think it's just like what they win with too. Like I think that's what it was for.
I have a similar thing with Smash in like where I just love Zero Suit Samus's down B, which just like does that backflip and makes her invulnerable. And so like I could have fun just doing that. It just feels so clean for me, the same way that E on Fizz feels clean for you, and that's why I play Zero Suit Samus the most. Yeah.
That's funny. But the one thing I did want to add onto it is, I remember when I played or started picking up jungle, my play style, which isn't like necessarily, I don't even know if you could call it a play style as much as maybe an oversight, or not an oversight, but like a weakness in my gameplay. Oh yeah, I'll come to you. But I was just a very heavy farming jungler, and I remember when I first picked up Skarner, his kit just worked well with being like heavy farming. So he just like clicked with me, and I remember playing him for a while. So I do think there's something to be said a little bit about that. So for example, I've noticed like I think your playstyle is fighting a little bit more. Like you seem to, I don't know if you really enjoy it or just like the way you play the game, but your farm tends not to be super high. So I think part of the reason that Viego really clicked with you is he's a really good skirmisher.
100%.
And you can even fight when you're like down items and whatnot.
definitely. Oops,
But what do
I
you
actually
think?
just hopped off. No, I think you're right. I think a lot of it has to do with that. With yeah, no, I think I definitely go for people who can brawl, but then at the same time, like Viego's ult is what really draws me to him. Like just like the being able to outplay,
Yeah.
like that's what is the most fun for me. So people like Echo and Viego and people who can do these like crazy things that the other team when you get a kill like that is like what the actual heck just happened to me? Like that's my favorite. I need to get out.
Oh, didn't have enough damage. I actually missed my E because he
Come
gale
here,
forced forward.
somebody.
Dodging
Ah,
game.
no,
Oh.
I'm so slow.
Yeah, which is also, I don't know, at least when I'm looking at Meech, he definitely just seems to pick up champs on a whim and really just whoever he kind of
Right,
wins with. And I have
right,
a feeling like certain champs that he wins with, the reason he wins with them is because they cover like his weaknesses. So for
right.
example, I don't like we've mentioned before, he doesn't really learn when he plays each time. So he
Yeah,
picked up Pantheon recently, which is interesting because the champion is just so strong that if you're playing against people that don't know that also do the same and don't understand what's going on and how to get better, they're just gonna get pooped on by Pantheon. Because
right.
so it like covers his weakness, which is why I bring up the Skarner example. Is like I don't know if it was necessarily a play style. I think people definitely do develop play styles when they're good enough. And not that like we don't have play styles, but I would say it might also just be like a weakness of mine that I would just prioritize farm and probably not look around the map as much as I should have been.
Right.
But I don't know. But maybe like when people get really good at the game, then yeah. Okay. Like I
No,
don't
you're
know.
right.
If you're caps and you just play like 20 mid lane champions or something, yeah, maybe a couple of them really click with you. Like Silas, for example. I think he has a really dirty Silas. And it's probably actually I don't know why it is, but maybe it just clicks with his playstyle, which is
Right.
kind of inty play testing all the time. Good scrappy champion. I don't know. Yeah, it's a message to me.
You just alt the Grump.
Yeah, just ult to the ground. He was looking. He was looking at me funny. No, I was backing anyway. I didn't even get enough for my item though.
I definitely think that like Meech would really benefit from like finding a champion to really stick with for a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. At least if. Although here's a good question: like, why? Like, what's the point of getting better at League anyway? Like, unless you're a streamer and you're like, this is your income, in which case, okay, makes sense why you might want to get rank 1. But like, what does Meech get from getting better at League?
I think well that's something to be said about just like what do you get from doing anything you like to do that doesn't really affect big Yuumi double kill. That doesn't really like affect your actual like day-to-day life or income, you know, like so I like doing perler beads like well, I don't know, like that like I just like kind of making them just cuz it's nice and I get better at it and can make cooler designs just cuz it feels good to be like wow, that's pretty sick and then like give them to people. I think for video games it's a little weird because I've definitely like liked games and then not liked them as much because I don't have friends to play with. So like sometimes
Right.
just getting better to play with your friends and like on a higher level and be on the same level as them is a good drive to get better. But I also think that if it's something you're gonna play a lot and you like the game, then obviously you just want to get better, you know?
Right.
Like just because it's fun, even though you're not gonna make it your career or anything.
Mm-hmm. I'm just
Uh,
curious because obviously, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of parents and grandparents that just be like, okay, great, you're good at a video game, or even my parents, really.
right.
Like, they don't care at all. That,
Right. I mean,
you know.
I don't know. It's like it's the same thing as kind of for me. It's like great, you're good at soccer, like because you are good at soccer. You know, like
Right.
that was just something they were could a little more like be in touch with you about, so it kind of made more sense to them. But
I mean, at
Like,
least,
dude, like I feel like when I'm a
yeah.
parent or like when you're a parent and your kid is like playing a video game, like you'll obviously play probably some games with them or something, and like when they're getting better, you're gonna be like, hell yeah, like that's awesome, like keep playing, like
Yeah. Although I,
And
no, you go ahead.
go ahead. I didn't really have anywhere to go.
Well, I would want to make sure though that they have like a good, a healthy relationship with video games, because
Right.
I don't know. When I first got into League, I would stay up pretty late. I don't know. I don't know when I started. I know I'd a lot of the times end at like 3, 5. So like 8 to 5, 8 to 3. And I don't know if I necessarily want my kid doing that. We're being like, mean in chat and shouting the N
Hmm.
word and whatnot. Um, but no, I do think there's a lot of benefit to League as well, which kind of like the perler beads. One thing that's really great. Have you ever heard of like flow state and all of that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so just getting into that flow state where you're just like locked in, concentrate on nothing else. I think it's just
Right.
healthy for you.
Yeah, no, 100%. That like one of the things that you see a lot at like shows that I go to are like things they're called flow toys, like those light toys, whether they're gloves or
Yeah.
poi, and they're called flow toys because you
Ah.
literally are supposed to like flow. Like that's supposed to be where you're focusing all your energy when you do it. And that just feels good. And like people can recognize when you do something that you're in that type of energy with, like just because it shows.
Yeah, I think there's something. I mean, and to that too, not only the person performing, but the person watching. Like they're both, at least in
100%.
theory, they're both completely concentrated on the light show. One person performing and one
Yeah.
person enjoying the
But
show.
even in League though, it's like something to be said about you see like somebody in your ranked game go crazy doing these crazy like plays and popping off and saying literally nothing in chat. You're like, oh, this person obviously does this a lot. Like, like that I can appreciate this. Whereas if you're like going crazy and you're like, holy crap, look at, did you guys see that? Like, oh my God, it kind of feels more like, oh, they're just doing this like once, like that was just something that they did and they were like, wow. But as opposed to like someone who plays an entire game, you can tell they're locked in, like making all the right plays. Like you could tell that they're a better player. You know what I mean?
Right. We're also just watching people that are really good, or even I'll admit, like watching myself back making like a really cool play on Fizz. I'll be like, damn, sick.
Right.